because of the heavy heart, she could not travel here. So on the night of 16th, that was last year, 16th of July, 2024, my son was shot dead at Kitengela. But we didn't know that he was shot dead because on the news, the only person who was shown first was a young guy called Charles Owino. So the reason why I happened to know that my son was shot dead, his phone was picked up by a good Samaritan. And on looking the phone fell from the pocket of my son. So the guy took the phone and scrolled and saw the last number that was called. Then he called me. So I wasn't sure very well if he was the one who was shot dead, because on the news there was nothing like that. So the next day, not even the next day, the very night at midnight, I tried to go and trace the boy, but could not find him. So the next day I called a cousin of mine and informed him that my son is missing, but reports indicate that he might have been shot dead. But I'm not very sure, but my heart is heavy. So the first thing I did was to trace by myself. I went to Saitoti mortuary. When I went there, they told me that the mortuary attendants told me nowadays they don't allow any victim of police brutality or anybody who has been killed through a mob justice or police. The only people they take to the mortuary are the ones who have been accompanied by the parents. So I took it upon myself, brave enough, I went to Kitengela police station. Going to Kitengela police station, I found there were so many police officers. In fact, that cordoned off the area, nobody was allowed in. So through a good friend of mine, one of the cops, I asked her to help me assist to check in the records if there is any name like Otieno Obienge who was arrested. They didn't find. So the next morning, I got up the courage. I went to city mortuary by myself. I was doing the investigation by myself with a cousin of mine. Then I alerted my shemeji. So we went, two of us, because we don't want this thing to be known at first because it was very sensitive. So when we went to the mortuary, we asked about the victims that had been brought through gunshot wounds from Kitengela. The city mortuary attendants told us that the only victim they had were from Juja. Those were accident victims. Then I told him, bring the first accident victim that was brought, I see. So the first one was brought. I recognized from the photos, I remember that I'd seen that photo through the print media, that was one of the guys who was shot dead. Then I told him, this is not the one. Bring the second body. So when the second body was brought, because I was not sure of the clothes that he was wearing, I had to open the jumper that he was putting on. So when I checked, he used to love Manchester United. So he had a t-shirt from Manchester United inside. So I checked it, then opened his eyes a bit. And because I know my son, he had, alikuwa na kitovu kubwa. So I checked the kitovu, then I found he was the one. Then I told my cousin, this is Otieno. So from there, when the guy was still doing other things, I happened to see the registry, the mortuary registry, then took a picture. It was written that unknown from accident in Juja town. That is what happened. So the following day, okay, after establishing that it was Otieno that was gunned down, I went live through the Citizen TV and informed the whole world what was going on. Then the next day, we were to do the postmortem. I remember the government pathologist. I don't remember his name, but when he came to do the postmortem, he refused to carry it out because he had the instructions that to do postmortem for the victims of accident, not gunshot wounds. So he disowned the report. So we had to wait Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We came back on Monday. On Monday, we had to wait again until 4 p.m. when the postmortem was done. So as usual, procedures dictate that the body has to be brought first, and they identified. So when the body was brought before us, one thing for sure was kulikuwa na kitu funny. The boy, when we saw him first, he was drenched in blood. And he had a gunshot wound that pierced through this side. It came from this side and pierced through the other side. So there's a big wound on this side. But that day the boy was brought, number one, it had already been cleaned up. And even the clothes had been cleaned, the blood was cleaned up. Then I told the guys who were doing the postmortem report, the Haki Africa was there, Human Rights Commission was there, IPO was there. So I told them this body has been interfered with. It's not the same the way I left it before. They asked me, really? Yes. Do you have facts? Yes. I showed them the picture which I took secretly when I was there. So they were surprised. So the postmortem was done, and it was truly established that the boy died from gunshot wounds inflicted by a police officer within Kitengela.